We have this from the Gateway Pundit. Ashley Biden officially confirms her diary, where she talks about showers with her dad, Joe Biden, is real, an emotional letter to judge. And I wanted to pull up the Gateway Pundit because they actually reported the news, but I'm going to throw it to our good friends over at Snopes, who updated their article titled, "Did Ashley Biden accuse Joe Biden of inappropriate behavior in a leaked diary?" Quote, "I will forever have to deal with the fact that my personal journal can be viewed online," Ashley Biden wrote to a district court judge.
Wow.
True. On April 29, 2024, Snopes changed the rating of this fact check from unproven to true based on testimony provided by Ashley Biden. In an April 8th letter to a New York judge requesting jail time for one of the two people convicted of stealing her diary, Biden wrote, which I just read, "I will forever have to deal with the fact that my personal journal can be viewed online." Previous versions of this fact check noted strong evidence the diary existed, but argued that no source had authenticated the contents of the pages published online, writing that the authenticity of photographs reported to be from a diary is a separate question from the factual existence of a diary. My response to that, Snopes, is there's no proof Donald Trump had any classified documents. There's a photo of it. They're claiming they recovered the evidence, but they could have made it up. So until there's proof, it's a ridiculous notion. Look, Trump had the documents. The question is, as president, was he allowed to have classified documents or not? Not whether they were real. We know that this woman took the diary. We know that she sold it. We know Veritas had it. We know Veritas passed it off to National File. We know National File had the diary and then reported on it and posted images. Why would anyone assume it was fake? The corporate press was screaming to the high heavens, no. While it may be true that some woman did have it, give it to Project Veritas, who gave it to National File, and National File did report on it, the images they published may be fake. Therefore, unproven. It's a ridiculous concept. But now it's Snopes confirmed Joe Biden seems to have taken inappropriate showers with his young daughter.
And doesn't this just remind you of the laptop?
Exactly.
I mean, this is just like the laptop. It's not mine. It's fake. This is not real. Russian disinformation, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, then he shows up in court, Hunter, and is like, yeah, that's my laptop. I need it back.
Yep.
And didn't he sue the people who had it or something?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
He acts like he is the victim.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I mean, I can understand we're having your personal diary. We're talking about what seemed like very traumatic times in your life. On the internet, that's not fun. On the other hand, again, why is the Biden family always the victim, yet also somehow everyone is responsible for everything that happens to them?
I see what you guys are saying. She should have brought the diary to a computer repair store first, and then
Yes.
the computer repair store could have been like, it was left here by someone.
Well, and I'll say this, for her is, I feel terrible for her. It's awful. This is her father. This is insane that this man is president of the United States. And you did have former staff members on the Hill come out and say, I was assaulted by Joe Biden when he was in the United States Senate. And the mainstream media just killed it, just destroyed it. Gone. She's been disappeared, I'm sure, into wherever. And that just went away. It just went away. And it's obviously, it's corroborated his, in my view, long history of illegal sexual behavior.
Yeah, look, this is a guy on camera who's sniffing little kids one too many times. And then you hear this in the diary where she says that she thinks she may have been sexualized at a young age, or she was, and that she took showers with her dad that may be inappropriate. And isn't it true? Is it true that Hunter called him Pedo Pete? Was that confirmed?
Wasn't that his name for him on his phone or something? I'll double check.
Yeah, I think it was his name in his phone.
I don't know if that was confirmed, though.
Yeah, I don't know if it was confirmed or not either.
But I don't know. I think we have a preponderance of evidence on old creepy Uncle Joe.
Yes.
Well, and otherwise, the other parts of her diary that I remember seeing are she's talking about her marriage being chaotic, having substance issues. Hunter has also famously struggled with addictions.
Yes.
Aside from everything else, these children of Joe Biden clearly have a lot of emotional and psychological baggage they're dealing with. A lot of Americans do struggle with these things. It's just interesting because you look at this family and they're supposed to be the representation of the first family. And we say Joe Biden's such a family man and he likes all his granddaughters or else. And it's all of the family around you is in chaos. Something seems wrong here,
Yeah. There's a question, though, and it's public right to know. So first and foremost, it's look, if you find someone's private diary, it doesn't matter if they're a public figure or not. You shouldn't try and sell it to make money. But there's a question of, this guy Joe Biden wants to be president. And if there's documented evidence from a victimized family member or I should say potentially victimized family member, then is there a public need to know that this is the case? And so I suppose here it's actually pretty clear cut. It's clear cut. The woman who took the diary sold it, right? They made money off it. If she handed it off to a journalist for nothing, and then there'd be an interesting question of someone found a diary that makes allegations against the man trying to be president, accusing him of potentially assaulting children. Maybe that's something a journalist should figure out. But then if you try to sell it to him, it sounds like you just stole property and you're selling it for money.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, so you're mentioning, it's horrible for her, but I'm curious, what do you think about I mean, maybe it's not fair at all to say, but is there some kind of like public need to know when it's someone trying to become president about what his behaviors may be?
Yeah, I mean, like when you're talking about somebody who's potentially preyed on their own kids or done something inappropriate like this, I mean, that's certainly a discussion. And then that coupled with these accusations of what he had done as a United States senator as well, that, remember, those just disappeared. Those just went away. I think that is a conversation to have. We're certainly having it in court right now about Donald Trump. I mean, I think it's a fair conversation to have. And, look, you just mentioned right now, you got his kids having substance abuse issues and obviously a lot of emotional distress and baggage and things of that nature. I can't imagine being in a position where it's like, yeah, I can go run for president. Mm-hmm. When your whole life, the things you're supposed to care about the most. I mean, I got kids. And just being like, oh, their lives are falling apart, I'm going to run for president.
Yeah.
I think he abused his kid. That's my opinion. When you look at how messed up Hunter is, when you look at the things that Ashley's writing and the things she's described in her life, I'm like, this sounds like children who are traumatized. And then you look at the behaviors of Joe Biden, and you can make assumptions. You can sort of make assumptions what you think there. So I wonder what happened to his kids based on what they allegedly call him, and now they have serious drug and substance abuse problems. He seems like a pretty bad guy.
Yeah.
It's also hard because, again, it's obviously we're going to contrast him to Trump, right? And people will go after Trump saying like, oh, he said stuff about Ivanka, or like he's been married 3 times or whatever it is. And, I just don't think that Donald Trump's children treat him the same way Joe Biden's children treat him.
Not even close.
Right? And even the children that were from different marriages, from all I can see from the outside, appear to have some pretty positive relationships. It doesn't seem like this internal chaos where one of them is like leaving his marriage to then be with his brother's widow. Like, it's very chaotic in the Biden household. And the Trump, in comparison, is like, again, no families are perfect. Everyone has their own stuff. But like, if we had to pick a first family right now, I don't think we'd pick the Bidens.
I think the issue at hand here is the double standard, because if it was one of Trump's kids who lost his diary or lost his laptop and it was leaked to one of these news organizations, I don't think anybody would be calling it like they would all believe it. Everybody would believe it. They wouldn't be questioning it, calling it Russian disinformation. That would be a great scoop for the New York Times or something. So they'd love that. The double standard is what I think the issue is.
And it's essentially everything they said about Donald Trump is actually just true about Joe Biden, which is the fascinating thing here. All these accusations about Trump and he's a terrible guy, terrible father, that's all true on the other side. His kids are terrible. Don Jr.'s great. These are good people. I mean, right. They're doing good things. I mean, then you got the other side. Mm-hmm. And it's, look, there's been widely reported. You got, Hunter marrying his brother's, or getting together with his brother's widow. And it's just like,
remember the WikiLeaks thing with Don Jr., where it was like they misreported the date of the email that he got to make it seem like he had advanced knowledge of WikiLeaks releases.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, here's a dude who gets a random email from someone. And he's like, wow. And then they're like, this proves it. They go nuts. And then meanwhile, you got Hunter Biden, the laptop. No, that's not real at all. And all these intelligence agencies have denied it. Yeah, it's I'm sorry. You look at the things on that Hunter Biden laptop and you're like, yikes, this poor guy, his drug abuse, the tormented mind. He's like a man. It's like the Burisma thing just makes me feel like Hunter is just some used and abused tool for his dad to basically operate as his proxy in these business affairs. And then it's funny because you look at the Trump family and like you were saying, they're like well-adjusted, normal people. I like to bring this up all the time. Like if you saw Don Jr. just like out walking around, you wouldn't know the difference between him and any other regular dude just walking around. There's nothing, and I mean this respectfully. He's a very regular, normal dude.
Yeah, I've met him.
Yeah.
And, met him. Hey, what's going on? Just normal
You
kind of guy.
You wouldn't realize that he's the son of a billionaire, former president, or anything like that. You just think you'd met some guy.
No, he actually goes and hunts periodically down in Greenbrier County, West Virginia.
Cool.
And he'll just like hanging out,
Yeah.
And not to beat a dead horse with Joe Biden's family issues, but I think it goes underreported that Hunter Biden has another child that Joe Biden doesn't acknowledge. And
Maybe.
and they came to some negotiation where the child doesn't have the Biden last name as he was supposed to. So
Her mom's the exotic dancer that he met in D.C.
so I'm not 100% up to date with
dude.
all the explicit details, but it's underreported. And
I followed that story
but
a
if Trump
lot.
had that,
Wait,
then,
how old is the kid?
She's like 4 or 5.
This is like 15 years away from being a Game of Thrones storyline.
Well, there was this thing because they were going back and forth, and there was like a lot of press coverage. I was really interested in this because I think the family is one of the most important structures that we have as a society and
Yes.
a community. And so, again, all families have issues. Not all families are perfect. It's not that we are trying to hold them to an unreasonable standard, but there is so much chaos with the Biden children that, including this like daughter who he was paying child support for, and then was like, well, I don't want to pay as much, but I don't want her to have my last name. She's being raised in like Arkansas by her mom. The Biden family would acknowledge it. There was a point where they were like, and we love all of our, I think it's like 6 grandchildren.
Oh, yeah, they're missing one there.
Well, part of it, what I found interesting is that he is married to a South African film producer, I think. And they got married pretty quickly within like 2 weeks of meeting each other. And they have another young child. So when you are looking up like Joe Biden's youngest grandchild, that's the one that's going to come up. It's a little boy. And again, when he was finally through negotiating this like arbitration over this poor kid's child support, the Biden, Jill and Joe Biden suddenly were like, well, we love all of them, including Navy, this little girl. Like, it's so opportunistic. And I just think this is not the message we want to send to children in America, that like when your parents acknowledge you, or if they do, is totally at their will. You should be valued by your parents.
Yeah, I mean, look, Biden's thirst and hunger for power has probably destroyed his family, unfortunately. I mean, if anybody was going through a situation like this, they'd say, you know what, time out. I need to go focus on my family. But that's not what he's done, and he's run for president multiple times.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.